This is Akudo, let the truth be told. I got vibes of grace, lighting up the dark.
I have one thing to say and one thing only.
It ignites the spark.
Open your mouth.
Oh, yes,
Open
we
your
shine,
mouth.
shine
Open
like the
your
morning sun.
mouth. Absolutely. So emotional toughness. I mean, that to me is because when you're managing a group of people, man, there's people from all walks of life. You got
Yes,
age,
different cultures and backgrounds. AK-47.
Where the truth will sing.
no.
Rhythms of
Although
fire,
that has been, that's been suggested several times, or I've been called that. But I mean, out of joke, what is the why? Like I said, I think once you have your why, like if you know why you're doing what you're doing, it's hard to be sidetracked. It's hard to be distracted, and even when those distractions do come, you know how to navigate.
Right, guys, this is Great Akudo. I got a special guest for you today. A wonderful, wonderful guest. You're gonna love him in every sphere of the word. Love him. There's something about him. I'm telling you, I can't really pinpoint it, but he's very special, man. People love him too, and he's a father of three. Been married 16 years to a wonderful woman. He's a man of God. He loves the Lord. Business owner, an IT professional. Been in IT, I think, more than 10 years. If he needs to correct me on that, but I think he's been in IT a long time. But yeah, without any further ado, I'd like you to welcome to the pod, AK. Thank you, brother, for joining us today and giving us your time. How you doing?
Bro, I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's a great honor and a pleasure to be here. Just to chop it up with you, man. We've been talking about doing this for a while, so I think its time is right.
We have.
Let's get it done.
Man, you wouldn't even believe this, bro. That yesterday when we tried to record and this thing didn't work, and after we hung up, I did some recordings and it worked, and I was like, definitely the devil is trying not to let us record, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, there's something that you have for our audience that will bless someone's life. I'll change their trajectory. So I don't take that for granted. I don't believe in coincidences, but also I understand spiritual patterns. You know what I mean? The devil trying to do certain
Absolutely.
things in a certain way. We're not ignorant of the devil's devices. So anyway, I prayed about it and I said, Lord, take over. So yeah. Without any further ado, man, let's get to it. Can you tell us how did you come about the name AK and what it means? And on who is AK? You can start from there, I guess.
That's a interesting question. One
Yes.
that I don't know that I have.
AK-47?
No. Although that has been, that's been suggested several times. Well, I've been called that, but I mean, out of joke, just joking with me. But I mean, you'll be
For sure, for
surprised
sure, for
that
sure, for sure.
the name AK really came from our pastor, Pastor Koya. So my
No
name,
way.
I
Really?
know, yeah. Most people don't know that as
What?
his pastor. So
Absolutely not.
yeah. A lot of people don't know that was his, the name that he gave me. That it just kind of grew by fire, and
Right.
everybody just kind of ran with it. At first, I'm like, "Who's AK?" And then he's looking at me. I'm like, "I guess that's my new name, right?" you know. So yeah, I mean,
Man is
AK
stuck.
stands for right, yeah, and it's been there, and it's cool. I've grown to love it, right? So my name is Akinwale, right? So I
Okay.
guess he just wanted to make Akinwale cool, right? So he called me AK, and
Yes.
like I said,
Oh, see.
it's grown like wildfire, right? It's gone viral, right? So yeah, and like I said, people
And
has
what does
been
Akinwade stand for? If you don't mind me
Akinwale.
asking, then you can continue explaining. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, Akinwale is a Yoruba name, right? I'm a Yoruba man, so I
Okay.
mean, I mean,
Okay.
if you break it down, right?
Yes.
Akin, I can conjure like a strong man, right? Like a strong man.
Okay.
Wale, so like a Akin Wale.
Hmm.
Now, Wale means come home. So when I was born,
Okay.
they felt like a strong man
Okay.
came home. Somebody that's gonna do
I
something great.
see. I
Something to
see.
that effect.
Yes,
So
sir.
that
Yes,
that
sir.
what it means. So, like I said, I mean, I've been called AK, AK-47. There's different, some people take it further now. They do AK and then they add something else to it. So, yeah, I know it's all fun and I love being among the brethren. So it's all fun,
Yes, sir.
and I enjoy it. So that's a little
Awesome.
thing.
So now I
Yeah,
want you to transition to telling us a little bit about you and yeah, how you've come to the level you're at with family, with business, with career. Who is AK? Where were you born? And all the good stuff. We'd like to know.
man. That is you got me like thinking back, which is cool, right?
Oh, man.
So who was Akinwale? Well, I mean, in a nutshell, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm
Yes,
just
sir.
somebody that loves the Lord, that likes to
Yes.
do whatever that needs to be done. We'll get it done, right? So I
Yes,
love
sir.
God, I love people, and I like to do. I would like to say that I'm goal oriented or task objective oriented. So, like I said, so that's what I mean by I love to
Yes,
get
sir.
stuff done. So if there's anything that needs to be done and I'm
Yes,
involved, yeah,
sir.
let's get it done. Now, if I can break that down, right? I grew up,
Mm-hmm.
of course, I was born in, contrary to popular opinion, right? Because there's another narrative going on about
Mm-hmm.
AK, right? Some people think I was born and raised here, which there's some truth to that. I mean, unlike
Oh.
most, I mean, I came to
Right, right,
America
right.
at an early age. Right? So I came to America when
Right.
I was about 9, going on 10. So I've been here for a while, right?
Oh,
So,
wow.
so
Okay.
yeah, that explains some aspect of AK, right?
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
came from
Yes, sir.
came from a town, the state of Ondo State, a town called Akure, right? I don't know if
Okay.
you're aware, if you
Okay.
know any of that. So that's why I was born and raised.
A little
And then,
bit.
of
Yes,
course,
sir. Yes, sir.
yeah. So right after primary six, right, in our
Okay.
context of
Uh-huh.
Nigeria, right after my primary 6 year, I went to I
Right.
guess the next grade, right, which is I want to say JSS 1. Is that what we call it? So
Yes.
I was
Yes.
there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was there for maybe 3 months. So 3 months into that, we came
Oh.
we came to the
That's
states.
when you
Yeah,
okay.
so I didn't do much
Oh,
of my
okay. You
schooling
guys
in
came
Nigeria. So like I
together at
said,
once?
yeah, that's interesting, right?
Okay, okay, okay.
Big family.
Yeah,
So
yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm
That's very
from a big
interesting.
yeah, yeah. It's seven
Uh-huh.
of us, right? So came from a big
Oh,
family.
wow.
And yeah, we all
Mhm.
made that transition together. Of course, I'm like I said, there's 7 of us. I'm right there in the middle, right? So there's 3 before me, there's 3
Okay,
after me.
okay.
4 boys. I mean, I'm one of
Oh,
the boys. Of
wow.
course, there's
Literally in the middle.
right there in the middle. So it
Interesting.
was just perfect. So like I said, we all made that transition
Perfect.
together. Came to America early '90s, right? I want to say '92 or '93,
Right.
somewhere in there. It's where we came.
Right,
So
right.
that's kind of like my upbringing. And then of course, when I got
Interesting.
here, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're gonna get some parts of that most people don't. A lot of people don't know, right? I mean, boys will be
Please.
boys. Boys will be boys, and man, I got in trouble a lot. I
For
mean,
sure.
the cultural clash,
Really? No way.
the cultural
You fought
clash
a
was
lot.
real, right? Boy,
It's
I got in
real.
trouble.
Absolutely.
I fought a lot. I was suspended a lot.
Oh,
It was only honestly, it was only by the grace of God that I'm standing with you right now.
right.
It got real. Yeah, it got real. I want to say my sophomore year in high school. So Dallas is home for me, right? So when we
Mm-hmm.
came straight to Dallas, well, not Dallas, because
Okay.
everybody kind of claimed Dallas, but Urban, right? So Urban, Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but of course,
Mm-hmm.
when you're in Urban, you're pretty much in Dallas, right? You kind of make your way all
Oh,
around the
okay.
metroplex,
So it's a
so
suburb of Dallas. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Okay.
not too
I
far. I
got you.
mean, depending where you are in urban, you can get to downtown Dallas in about 15 minutes, right? So, yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah. So, but then eventually, so I did my middle school years around urban, and then my freshman year in high school, starting high school, we moved to another
Mm-hmm.
city, which is called Mesquite, right? So it was in Mesquite that I kind of became a man or whatnot, whatever we want to call it, right? That I kind of, got more education and just kind of learned more from surroundings. But the point I was getting at, my sophomore
Yes.
year in high school, talking about it got real because
Got
I was
real.
fighting a lot. I was getting in trouble a lot. I mean, I was
You ain't taking nothing from nobody.
boy, African booty scratching. No, not me.
I,
Well, we fighting for that.
exactly, man. I'm with you on that one, man. No, sir.
But I mean, and I can tell you the flip side of that story, later on, because
Please.
once you kind of understand, that most of the stuff that those kids were saying too, it was out of ignorance. It was out of I
Absolutely
really
out of
don't,
ignorance.
So but getting back to that story,
Hmm.
so the houses in Dallas is a little, well, how they built it back then in the 90s and
Hmm.
early 2000s is a little different. You have what you call an alleyway behind the house, and most garages are in
Hmm.
the, not up front. So that's what I
Right.
grew
Right.
up to, right? So you have an alleyway right behind, right in front of your property and the other property. So you got a little walkway or driveway between the houses.
Hmm.
So we were just, and usually, like I said, the garages out there, we put a basketball goal out, you're hanging out back there, chilling. But
Hmm.
one of the guys that is the funny part, one of the guys that I've beat up, right, several times,
Hmm.
several leagues, we just don't talk. If you talk, boom, like get out of here, right? So he became the family punchback. The brother after me, boom, he knocked him out. Like get out of here. I think my little brother even, boom, get out of here. Like we don't want to see you on this fateful day, right? On this fateful day, of
Yeah.
course, pop pop had a gun to my head. Like, what's up now?
No way.
Yeah, when I say it got real. So he had me at gunpoint,
No.
bro.
Oh,
When I think about the things that came out of my mouth today, at that time, I knew it was only God that saved me. Because I mean, like, I wouldn't say I was in the streets like that, but I mean,
right. Right. Right.
a lot of people that were in the streets. You watch the dumb movies and you copy what they say. So when he had me at gunpoint, I said, "Yeah, go ahead and shoot." Yeah, I said, shoot.
No.
I was even talking trash to him because of who he's been. He's been my family punch bag. Like, I'm like, bro, because I know as soon as he put that thing down, I'm about to do what I do again, right?
Clobber him. Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I was just like, yeah, go ahead. But and I'm looking at his hand like it's vivid for me. I
Right.
see
Right.
him
Right.
looking like he's trying to squeeze that trigger. It's just not happening. So when I say it was only by the grace of God that I'm here, like I don't take that for
Absolutely.
because he's
No
like
way.
he's struggling. He couldn't do it, and he just ran off. So he
That's the difference between our culture and American culture. That in our culture you can throw hands and not involve a firearm. In
or right.
American culture, they don't throw hands, bro. You're
It's
ending
different.
up in the obituary, bro,
It's
because a
different. I mean,
firearm is involved usually.
arm, knife, nunchucks. I mean, any kind of
Knife.
weapon.
I mean,
Right.
whoa. Yeah, that got real.
Yeah, it got real,
That
real. The
is
sad part is
that's
that even in our
crazy.
context too, man, people, we've copied so much of the Western culture, like
100%.
Nigeria, like it's like that now. Which when I found that out, I was kind of taken back. But yeah,
Are you
so
kidding me? In Nigeria right now?
oh yeah, it's crazy. Like some parts too.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, it's a different beast.
So
It-
that did that change? Like, was that a point in your life that was a marking point, or what was the word, turning point at all, or
Turning point,
you just kept being who you are?
man. Like I said, I was so I don't want to say hardcore because, like I said, I wasn't a criminal, but I was so into
Even if you
myself.
were, you're a born again Christian now. So
Right. I got you. But I was just so
yeah.
self-absorbed. Like
Hmm.
I play football, right? So,
Hmm.
and there's the guys that I didn't really see much anymore because once you start playing football or doing any kind of athletics or anything like that for school, you gotta,
Hmm.
like you can't be around drug because they drug test us,
It's true.
right? So you
It's
gotta
true.
kind of separate yourself a lot. So he wasn't a guy that I was seeing anymore, but we kind of grew up in that community, like so we
Hmm.
played basketball, baseball, we hung out, played football on the streets. But so like this year's, it was more like, look, I remember all that you guys have done. This family has done to me in the past. I'm gonna take it
Right.
out on you,
Right.
right? So, and that's what that was. So,
He felt
and
bullied, and then he was gonna stand up to it,
right. So he felt
to
like he
y'all
was
or
bullied, but
something.
I mean, honestly, he caused most of this stuff, right? Like we'll be doing our stuff, and because the thing is,
Hmm.
people will push, people will test you, right? Until
100%.
you kind of let them know, hey, bro, no, it ain't that kind of party, bro. Like
Right.
so, and that's why my take is slightly different on bullying. Now, I don't condone bullying, right? But I do believe in standing up to it, right? Because
1000%.
everybody that's tried to bully me were probably like really good friends now. Because I had to let them know, like, it's not that kind of party. Like, we gonna find no.
Right.
You might whoop me, but you gonna get some lick. I'm gonna get my licks in, right? Or you might not make it, you know. So that's why my take on it is a little different. But yeah, I don't think it really changed me because
Yes.
it's my adolescence year. Like I felt like I was untouchable. You feel like, man, nothing can happen. You feel invincible. Like, you know,
Did he? Okay, so what happened to him though after that? Like, what came
nothing.
of it?
He kind of realized what he did. And like I said, I didn't tell no 30. I mean, growing up, it's a little different, like snitches,
Interesting.
stitches, all of that nonsense. But
Right, right,
honestly,
right, right, right.
I felt like it was no harm, no foul. Right? I just felt like as long as you don't do that junk again, like we're good. I felt like, listen, as long as you don't try nothing like that again, we're good. But
Wow.
because he knew the type of person I am, like he didn't
Mm-hmm.
try it again. But the only other thing that he did get this to get back at
Mm-hmm.
me was to make up stories. So like
Really?
he was telling everybody that because he had to spin it somehow, right? It was like, oh, I had him begging for his life. Well, I'm like, you know what? Whatever, man. That's
Really?
story. Yeah, go run with it. But the neighbor that was there told everybody, no, man, he wasn't begging.
Oh, you
But
had a witness.
yeah, oh, yeah. That's the thing. Like, and be careful. Let me get a little philosophical.
Please, please, please.
It's a Yoruba saying that
Uh
says,
huh.
this is me paraphrasing, right?
Yeah.
If the death within your house doesn't kill you, the
Mm-hmm.
death from outside is not gonna kill you.
Oh,
Meaning,
interesting.
if there's no carpet in your house, you're gonna
Yes.
be safe. Who led
Right.
it to me? It was the neighbor across the street. You see what
Oh,
I'm
I
saying?
see. Yeah,
So
yeah,
it was
yeah.
he the guy that pulled a gun on me. He didn't live that close to us, right?
Oh, wow.
Right. It was the guy that's like this is my house. Across the alley
Right.
is their house. Remember, we got the alley thing going on in
Right.
Dallas. So it was him that brought them. They came from his
That had a
backyard.
connection. Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
So that was his link to me. Because, like I said, at this point, I was already kind of separating myself from those guys because they wasn't playing sports. They were doing other things that
Right.
I knew I couldn't get involved in. Right. So, but let me say this other thing. Right. Another
Mm-hmm.
story. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So even though, like I said, during this time, it didn't really change me, but I've always known that my life had to be different. I've always known that God is he's at work, he's at play in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
case in point, growing up in that community, because we got there not extremely early, but when we got there was still other new construction going on in that
Oh, wow.
community
Okay.
where I grew up.
Okay.
So these guys, they thought it was a good thing to go around. They went around. I mean, because I was with them, but I didn't do any of this because I just knew
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Like we went around like kicking walls and kicking wood. I mean, most of this house is wood, right? In America. So we were kicking, we were just being, vandalism, right? But I couldn't
Wow.
deal with them, right? And it got to a point where they kind of realized who I was too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, guys, why are we doing this? I'm like, wait, aren't you planning to buy a house one day? Yeah. Aren't you? So you want other people to come and destroy your house
Right.
as is in progress? So that didn't sit well with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't participate, and that's why I was like, you know what, I can't hang out with y'all no more. So I remember early on, God kind of dropped that in my spirit, like, if you trying to buy a house one day, like you want other people to. So I was like, no, I can't hang out with y'all to do
That's
this.
wisdom.
Right. And then when I would hang out with them, they kind of knew for me, right? So another point, they had a
Mm-hmm.
plan. Oh, we're gonna get you high today. And I was like, no, you're not. And this is part of the things that I share with my kids because I want them to be well informed. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
they had a plan to get me high, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm an athlete, but apart from being an athlete, I know it's wrong. It's not for me, right? And I told my kids, I'm like, even though most of those guys I knew if we fought, I'll knock them out, and probably call the police on me, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the Bible says, flee it not even the evil. It said, flee the appearance of evil.
Yes.
So I ran. Like the people that, like, imagine running away from people you can take. It's a little embarrassing, but I was like, you know what? If that's what it takes for me not to get high, I'm doing it. So I ran
Word.
from, so from the characteristic and the person that I've shown them that I am, at
Mm-hmm.
some point they realized they don't need to peer pressure me to anything because I'm not going to do it anyway. And then if it's going to get involved, if
Hmm.
I'm hanging out with them, they say, hey man, let's stop. Everybody stop. Which is I thought it was kind of cool at some point. It got to that point, like, all right, bro, we're about to go. You don't want to be here. We'll see you later. So we'll dab it up. Hey man, I'll see y'all later. Yeah.
Really
It got real like that. I was just like, so like when I say God saved me and
interesting.
so many, so it's like, hey man, yeah, this next step, you don't want to be here.
You don't want to be here.
You want to turn around. And
Wow.
I already knew what that meant. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see.
yeah, for sure.
We'll dab it up. Love y'all. Hey, y'all be safe. I'm gonna be over here. I'm gonna go to the gym, go work out, or go play basketball or something. So that's pretty much my adolescent high school year, and then we got into college.
Hmm.
Like a typical American, I guess. I chased the football dream for a while, right? But I had a few scholarships, but I tore ACL, so that
Oh,
kind of changed all of that. I mean,
change
even if I
everything.
didn't
Yeah,
tear ACL, I don't think I probably would have made it to NFL.
it
you
wasn't. It
know,
wasn't God's plan for you.
no, it wasn't. But as you look and you have it, maybe there's a chance.
For
So
sure.
my the first 2 years in college, I was just like, man, I'm not doing this no more. I now looking back, I had what was probably a depression, right? And I didn't know that
Oh
at the time.
wow.
You just
At that
get
time, you already tore your ACL.
I tore the ACL. I
Okay.
wasn't doing too good in college. I really didn't
Okay.
want to be there, bro. And hindsight, I was probably a little lonely. You know what I'm saying? Being
Okay.
away from home,
Why? Okay. 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 Okay.
just being away
Okay.
from home. And even though,
Mm-hmm.
get this,
Mm-hmm.
even though my sister was at the same university,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? But it's a new environment. Like I've always played football up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine going to the stadium and he's just like, man, well, I know I can do that, but you can't, and you're
But
not
you
doing
can't.
it.
Yeah. You're hurt.
You can't, and you're not doing it. So it really
Yeah.
affects you a little bit. I remember I wrote an English paper to my teacher my sophomore year in college about that, and she was like, "You sure you're okay? You want to do some counseling?" I was like, once again, I shrugged it up. Man, come on, man.
Right.
I didn't do no counseling. Like I said, I probably had maybe a mild depression and I didn't recognize it at the time. But eventually, so because of that, I made some moves, right?
Okay.
Like I said, I wasn't
Okay.
doing too good at school anyway. Just
Right.
being a student ain't gonna cut it. Like I was okay, but I wasn't doing what I know I could do. Because if I take you back a little bit, because in high school,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was taking all these honors classes and doing this and doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I will call myself a late boomer a little bit because before I kind of woke up,
Mm-hmm.
I was taking those regular classes too, man. Blah blah blah. But when I woke up, I was like, "Oh, you can take honors classes to get better grade and have better ranking." So
Right.
like,
You
while
took it
most
seriously
people,
at that time.
oh yeah, so my sophomore year in high school, right? So it was a sophomore year for me now that I'm thinking about it, right? So my sophomore year in high
Mm-hmm.
school, I woke up. I took honors classes the rest of the time where most of my mates were on the decline the last 2 years. I was ramping up.
Oh
So
wow.
I finished, I think I was ranked, like I said, I was just being a C student. I think I was ranked like four something out of like
Mm-hmm.
800 kids,
Oh
right?
wow.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which wasn't middle pack, wasn't doing much.
Middle.
I didn't
Yeah.
really,
Basically.
and then so the last 2 years, I knocked it down. I became 187 from four something. Yeah. It was a
Wow.
little late, but I still did some work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same way for me. So having that mild depression, I didn't really know what to do with it. It was
Mm-hmm.
mostly okay, I'm hurt. I want to play football, still thinking that, okay, this is my life. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, it's not, as we can see today, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, forget this. I'm done with it. So every college campus in America in the fall or in the spring, you'll see military personnel, recruiters. They'll be on campus.
Mm-hmm.
You do some pull-ups. Man, I was in the best shape of my life. Pull-ups? Nothing. I'm sitting there, I'm doing it backwards, showing off this kid,
Backwards.
showing off, and they was like,
Shoot.
you should enlist. I'm like, yes, because I really want to, I'm thinking in my head, I really want to get out of here. So
Right.
that's
Right.
how
Right.
my interest in military got increased even more. Not that that was
Okay.
my introduction because I did JROTC in high school, right?
Okay.
the Junior Army Officer Reserve training course, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I did the regular ROTC at the university level. So before I get there though, so I was just like, man, I'm done with this. I'm hurt. I want to play football, whatever. What's the next best thing to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I missed that camaraderie from the locker room. Where else can
Okay.
you get that? You can
I
go
see
get the
what you
league out
mean.
there.
Yep. Yep.
So,
It's very important.
boom, I joined the military and I was just waiting to deploy. And the only person
Mm-hmm.
I told was my brother. You know, he was because we played football together. He knew everything about me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like, look, bro, don't tell a soul. I'm going. I'm done.
You didn't want to tell your parents?
No, because I knew they would talk me
No.
out of it. Because I knew they would talk me out of it. I was like, bro,
You're a savage, bro.
don't tell it. But he's a good kid, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
I wonder where my life would be today. I wonder if I'll be alive. Because things happen for a reason. And you'll see why in a minute.
1000%. So what happened then? You didn't make it?
You'll see why in a minute. So
Okay.
I
Okay. Go ahead.
told him, don't tell a soul. But as a good kid, he knew better. So he leaked it. Of course, I wasn't happy then, but I'm okay. I'm
Yeah.
over it now. So he leaked
Yeah.
it. So everybody's blown up my phone. So I'm not answering.
Because you knew?
Because I know. And then eventually I will answer, but the only person that I refused to talk to was my mother. I was like, bro, I'll talk to anybody. I don't care what anybody said. I'm going. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear from my mother because she's the only one
Right.
that I knew can talk some sense into me.
Right. We'll talk you out of it.
And my dad was like, bro, just go the officer route. You don't need to go this route. Just finish school. So he's convincing me like, it seems like you want to do this. You've been talking about this as a kid. You did JROTC. Now you can go do ROTC in college. So that's what eventually led me to that. But before we
Right.
get there, I was like, I would just kept saying, no, I'm going. Like, I'm deploying in 2 months. I can just let go of this thing, right? So I guess the minds got together and they came up with a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't answering my mom's or anybody. So random number called me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know why I answered. Like, I'm like, why do you answer, man? I'm sure for you in the Igbo language, there's a word or a phrase your mom can say to you that it just hold like you freeze. Like you just
Yep.
As soon as she got on the phone and said, my son, remember who you are. Oh God.
Yeah.
Like tears rolling down my eyes. I remember vividly. I was in my apartment because I was already out the dorms at this point.
Wow, you were ready to go.
She didn't even say hello. She just said, like, yeah, I already knew what I had to do at that point. I called my recruiter. I was like, hey, bro, it's over. I tried. He said, what do you mean? My mom got a hold of me. And I'm not going no more. That's what that means. You know, so that was that. But prior to that, what my dad was alluding to, because I've always had affinity for the service. So the Army, that was the second service that I joined actually. The first one that I joined was the Marines in high school, right?
Oh wow.
I joined what's called the delayed entry program. I was sworn in and did all of that. And I was supposed to go to San Diego for my my training. So like I said, I've always had respect and affinity for the military all my life. Right? So, while if I can remember back now, while my growing up, while my little brother said, I want to be a doctor. I'm like, I want to be a soldier. You know, so I guess it came to fruition, right? So I joined and I spent 2 years with him because we trained summertime, weekends. So yeah, I was in the best shape of my life, right? And then they changed the contract because I was supposed to go play football, right?
Okay.
My freshman year in college. And then in the spring, I was supposed to ship out to San Diego. But then it was like July, I think it was right around my birthday. It's like, oh yeah, you shipping out August, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wait, I'm supposed to be in school. What happened to the original contract?
Yeah.
And then my dad is always kind of pushing the officer out. He's like, see, I told you they can. I said, okay, bro, y'all tripping. This ain't what we signed up for. So we have to cancel that contract. Cancel the Marine
interesting.
one, cancel the Army one. So that's 2 so far, right? That's
that's God saying something there.
I'm telling you.
The patterns. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guarantee you, it wasn't for lack of trying.
Right. It wasn't for it. But it's funny. The thing I want you to maybe talk a little bit on is the way our Nigerian culture is against the military. It's because our understanding might be that they will ship you and you are always on the forefront of fighting, but
Right,
that's not
right.
always the case in America,
That's
the
not
American
that.
military.
No, absolutely not. No,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
not.
the
But
thing
that's the understanding they have.
right, right. Which to us, we kind of make up our own minds, right? And there's
Yes.
some legitimacy to that mindset, I would
Okay.
say,
Okay.
but
Okay.
it's not 100% accurate, right? Because there's been
Mm-hmm.
family even at our churches approaching me and say, "Hey, my son, like all he wants to do is the military.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?" And from my understanding now, I was like, "Yeah, man, listen, it's a great opportunity.
Great opportunity.
It's a great one of the greatest opportunities we
I
have, man.
agree. I agree.
Opportunity to serve your country and enjoy the benefits that they offer. I mean, you can go to school
Absolutely.
free.
Man, I joined when I was in my 20s,
It ain't too
But
late, bro.
man,
It
it's
ain't too
fine.
late.
No regrets. It's fine. But you know how we say, 2020 in hindsight or whatever.
Yeah, I got you. I
It's
know what you
fine.
mean. But I mean, I'm serious though. It's never too late because even me, I still tried recently, right? And
Hmm.
they still wanted me. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think they said that they can do a waiver for age or something like that.
yeah, they'll do an age
That's
waiver.
funny. You're talking to me about it because today Sammy at church was telling me about it.
Huh? Oh
That
yeah, yeah,
dude, you
yeah.
should join. I'm like, no, bro. I'm old, bro. He's like, no, they'll
You
do a
still get
waiver
some.
for you. I didn't
Yeah,
even
they'll
know that part.
do age waiver. There's all kinds of
Yeah.
waivers that they do all kinds of waiver, and then you'd be surprised. So yeah, I mean, yeah, most African contexts are associated with war and death. It's
Yeah.
not everybody that goes that dies. Come on, I mean,
Exactly.
come on now. Like, there's an army in Nigeria, right? We have Navy, we have Air Force, we have all of that too, and people join
Yeah.
those. So it's not always, that's not always the end for everybody.
It's
But
not. It's
my pastor's
not.
a great example. He served so many men at church or, members of the armed forces that served valiantly and
Exactly.
got good, benefits out of it. So yeah, it's not always
Yeah.
doom and gloom.
My kids are definitely. I'm gonna bring it up to them. I'm sure they would make their own choices, but it's a great opportunity,
Option
and then
is
you can
there.
do other things. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
man, listen, you can, especially like I tell everybody to go the officer route because eventually I
Hmm.
went that route, right?
Okay.
So after 2 years at my first university before I transfer, right?
Hmm.
So by this time, my mom got a hold of me. We ripped that contract up, and
Hmm.
I went home. We had a nice dinner. We had a good conversation, and then now it's like, okay, we talked about it. My dad
Hmm.
brought it up again. Look, you say you want to do this, and blah blah blah. Okay, do it the right way. Be an officer. And what is that? So then
Like
I
a
got some.
police officer,
No. Be an officer in the military.
or be an
So
officer in the military. Okay. Okay.
yeah, not just go through the enlisted route, right?
So like
So
a
and that
national.
you can be an officer in any branch of the military, and all it takes is just a college.
Really? Okay. Okay. I didn't
Yeah,
know that. I didn't know that.
all you need is a college degree. So if you have a college
Okay.
degree, they
Okay.
can put you on an officer route. And so that's
Oh,
all my
I
dad
see.
would say. Look, just finish your college. This military ain't going nowhere. It'll be there. And of course he's right. So
He's
and
right.
and
He's right. He's right about that.
he's 1,000% right. So, once again, you always kind of meet and hang out with people that you probably, like most of my friends, being from Dallas, right? At this
Hmm.
first university, I'm from Dallas. Well, claim
Hmm.
Dallas, right? It's the biggest one. And
Hmm.
most of
You
the
are. You are.
associates are from the Houston area. Of course, they claim Houston as well. So
Of course. Of course.
we had a good thing going, right? But I also
Hmm.
realized too that life is kind of lifing. Like, things are different. Like,
Hmm.
when freshman year we rolled deep. Like, it was like, maybe about 50 of us just walking a walk around. We did everything together. And after that first semester, I'm like, where's everybody at? Some people got kids, got somebody pregnant. Some people flunk out. They got kicked out. Yeah, man. So I mean, I'm like, this is crazy. So life was happening. Like, I was seeing life at an early age, man. I'm like, wow. So
Wow.
that's it. Like, I'm never gonna see those people again. And then, of
Right.
course, each semester after that, the number got smaller. And of course, some people transferred too, which eventually, and that's why I segue, right? eventually I
Mm-hmm.
transferred. I left that school, but
Mm-hmm.
I left the school. Once again, I didn't tell nobody. Because as much as I love my boys, like I still speak to some of them today. But
Mm-hmm.
I should realize I'm like, look, I'm a computer science major, but I'm hanging out with mostly business and international
Oh.
business major.
Oh, I see.
If anything, I'm the one pouring into them. I'm not getting nothing from them. They can't help me with what I'm
Right.
trying to do.
Right. Right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? I don't know if you heard the saying that you're average of the 5 people that you know, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so if I took 5 of them, business, international business, I'm computer science, bro. It was not going up; it was going down for me, and I love them. It's
Oh,
not
I
like
see.
it was just the mindset was different.
It's
So I was like,
different.
I have to,
Different
yeah,
trajectory.
yeah, I have to hang out with more computer science major and blah blah blah. And once I kind of
That's
grew with my
smart.
dad to go the officer route, I changed school. I started, like I said, remember I was a little depressed and I wasn't doing good.
Mm-hmm.
So I started busting my butt again, right? I wasn't showing
Mm-hmm.
up at the gym as much with them and hanging out. So I kind of withdraw myself a little bit because I think the first time I applied, they said, nah, man, get that GPA up, bro. I was like, okay, oh, that's it. Oh, no problem. So I got the GPA up and then phew, I got out of there. It just worked out that
Right.
which would have been my junior year, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was at a
Mm-hmm.
different school that fall. Of course, as usual, we call each other, man, who's back? Who ain't back? Of course, I answered the phone. They didn't know I was, I'm at a
Different
different
school.
school. Hey, what's
So,
up, man?
but how did you arrange a payment and all that? You had financial aid that was transferred or
Yeah,
scholarship?
yeah, it was mostly loans. Because, I mean, once I
Okay.
kind of, the school that I got for football, I didn't go there.
Okay.
But,
Okay. Okay.
you have parents that give you great advice. And I do that for people today, too. Like I would have
Yeah.
been in Kansas. I would have been out of state. Out of state
Oh,
tuition
okay.
is not cheap, right? So it was like that's my
Right.
point, bro. And now like this football thing ain't really like, come on, like let's be real, right?
Right. Right. Right.
So yeah, at this time I was working on campus actually, right? So
Okay.
that's a different story. So my hands have been dirty for a while. I mean, speaking about my work career, like I started at
Yes.
Sonic, right? I was flipping burgers, blah blah blah. And then when I got to college, I was at the first university. I was a janitor, right? And
Wow.
most of my friends, so it was 2 of us that started as janitors, right? And they
Yes.
made fun of us. "Oh, you guys are cleaning toilets." I'm like, okay. Well, yeah, I'm also got money in the bank. So what, right?
Yeah.
And they
They make a lot
realized
of
that
money
at
if
some
you
point.
if you know.
They realized that, like, bro, because it's work study. I mean, we worked like maybe 3, 4 hours a day. I mean, it wasn't like, you can go build a house on this kind of, money we were making. But as a
Mhm.
college student, listen, you need guys do a little grocery shopping. It was good for all of that. You want to
Yes.
travel on the weekend, go back home, you were good, right? So they
Yes.
realized that they didn't have money. How do we become janitors? So now we from making fun of us to
You
admiring
made
us.
janitor great again.
Well, I'm telling you, bro, like life changed because the shoe is always right. The grass is
Right.
always greener.
Right. Right.
So yeah, to them, oh, we were janitors, but when now they have no money and they realize we always have money, it's gonna be janitor. So all of us, all my boys that was left, we were all
Yeah.
janitors at one. So yeah. So that's what I said. I've been so I that was how I paid for my apartment, paid for, a little bit. But it was mostly loans, right? It was mostly loans for me to
Okay.
get.
Okay.
And then when I got to the new school, now I'm in
Mm-hmm.
the ROTC program.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going the officer route. I'm serious now. The most serious I've ever been with my academics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, oh, computer science. Oh, we're gonna do this. We're gonna get this degree. So I'm taking summer classes, working. So now at this new university, I was working at a group home, right,
Okay.
bro?
Health.
Listen, I will have a calculus exam at 8 a.m., but I work overnight.
Wow.
So it was
Of
it was
course.
cool.
Yeah. I
But
know the group home.
I
Yeah.
gotta
The
get
system.
straight to class, right? I gotta get straight to
Yes.
class.
Yes.
Sometimes whoever's relieving me of my shift, they're late. Well, please come on. I'll call them the night before. But
Oh
I got an
man.
exam. I need all 50 minutes if it was a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or the type of, depending on what day the class is, right? Listen, I need all my time so I can take this exam. So I'll be pleading with them,
Mm-hmm.
please get here, please. So as soon as they come through that door, I'm on
You're
campus,
out.
I'm parking. I take my exam and then take the rest of my class, go home, go nap. So that's how I did school that's how I paid for school in my apartment at the new school
Really?
until I got my but then even at the old school, people kind of know me as this IT guy. I will fix laptop and fix other things for other
Okay.
folks. Right? So word got out at the new school as well. So I started fixing people's stuff. But then
Making
this
money,
brother,
but not for free.
no. I was taking just a little bit, give me a little tip,
Hmm
right? I,
hmm
I was okay, right? But there was this guy. Guy name is Dave. I want to say he's from. I don't think it's Kenya, but he's from one of
Okay.
those Eastern African countries. He
I
was
think Kenya is
grad.
west.
No, East,
Okay.
not too
East.
far from
So
Ethiopia.
I think like, okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So and we were both computer science, but he was a grad student. I'm undergrad, and he worked in a computer lab. I'm like, man, I can do this, bro. What's up? So when
Right.
he told me, hey, I'm leaving that, because when I would go to him for assistance with because like he's a grad student, so if I need help with computer science, man, I'm gonna hit up my African brother. So he was like, hey,
Right.
I know you say you're looking for a job. I'm leaving this job soon. I said, what? My ears went up like, what? I don't have to go work at those crazy homes anymore. Not the
Right.
homes were crazy, but it was just the back and forth, right? But he's like,
And the
yeah.
pay is not that good.
Yeah, exactly. And the pay wasn't that good. And he said,
Absolutely not.
I'll introduce you to Nancy, which was, the lady kind of ran the lab. Man, once he
Hmm
made that introduction, I showed my face, got God's favor and blessing. It was a wrap.
Over.
I got the job, and boy, I had an office, man.
Oh wow. How old were you?
It was a huge computer lab. I managed the students. So that was my first managerial role, really, while I was still in
Right.
college. So I manage the student and make sure equipment, everything is good, set up new equipment, and then I had a little office, where I can just close my door and do
Right.
my work. And if they need me, come knock on the door. So that life was good, man. So I got an
How
early
old
career.
were you?
Man, I was 20, what? I was in my 20, what was my junior year-ish? Yeah, I was 23 or so, I think. You
That's
know,
what I thought.
Yeah,
23.
yeah. Because so what I forgot to say is when I got
Yeah.
to the new school,
hmm
because I played around so much the first few years, I pretty much started over. So all my computer science work and all that silliness that I did at the old school, man, they
hmm
didn't. It's like, look, you got to start over here. Like all that, we're not fooling with that.
The
So
points didn't count. The credits didn't count.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Oh
Because
really? Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah. I mean, this is a much better school. And
Okay.
so I mean, they took my core stuff, but it was my major stuff. There's that now. We're not
Okay.
like that program wasn't accredited, right? So they was like, look,
Gotcha.
we have an accreditation, they don't have it. So their computer science coursework, nah, we're not taking it. So you're gonna have to start. Oh, okay, hey, no doubt.
So
I mean,
actually, it
it's
was a
fine.
good choice.
Oh yeah. So
That's crazy. Look at
yeah.
nice.
So I
We're
started.
we're supposed to be talking about masculinity, but you don't understand that your story is actually telling the tale of a masculine
Absolutely,
man.
absolutely.
But they're like some of them are like controversial because you kind of go against the grain. And when we say the grain, we're talking about your parents, right? And
Yo,
it's not like we're asking someone to
no,
disobey your
never, never.
parents or whatever, but still there is a level of knowing your path and going against the grain, even if it means not going with what your parents say.
Absolutely.
So in a way, it's a form of man. Anyway, go ahead.
No. You're absolutely right. Like I think we're all born rebellious, right? Like we
Mm-hmm.
all of us are born rebellious. I mean, it might not be so evident or obvious in certain people, but yeah, I mean, I was
Mm-hmm.
definitely rebellious. I went through my rebellious year. I mean, which was me trying to assert myself, like, hey, I got this. Yeah, of course, I went
Mm-hmm.
through all of that. But as you can see, as we circle it back around,
Mm-hmm.
they knew best for me, and now that I'm actually on that path at this new school
Mm-hmm.
from our conversation, which that part is also important, right? It's important to sit down with your kids and kind of lay a plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if they don't agree, but they see it. So when they do
I
come around, the path is already laid out, and then it's easy to kind of follow at that point, right? Which I can tie that into the legacy aspect in a little bit, right? From one of the
mm-hmm.
questions that you asked, right? But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so everything was already laid out for me. So I was just kind of I was just kind of rocking at this new school, doing my thing, and then
Hmm.
of course I joined the ROTC officer program. I
Okay.
graduated. I actually did my officer training at Lackland Air Force Base here in San Antonio, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I like it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
familiar.
So, but at the end of the day, I turned
Hmm.
down my commission.
Oh, why?
Let's just say I was young. I
Okay,
did
okay, okay,
in my head. I was young, right? So
okay.
once you go the officer route, it does get a
Hmm.
little political, right? There's a lot of
Oh,
politics goes into it. So I think
I see.
after the rank of a captain, if I'm not mistaken, anything
Hmm.
after that, you gotta sit before the board. So like before you get to that point, I think you're
Hmm.
a first lieutenant, second lieutenant, and captain. They can just promote you, but for you to go further, they gotta
Hmm.
put a package together. They gotta present you. They gotta make you look good. Of course, you gotta earn it, but it's a
Hmm.
whole deal. It's a whole lot of process. I was like, man, I was young. I was
You,
like,
in other words, they have to like you.
pretty much. They have to like you, and your resume have to kind of speak to what they're bragging about you about. If that makes sense, right?
Okay, but if it's political, that means there's a sense of nepotism
A little
involved.
bit,
Like they have to
a little
know
bit.
you to promote you.
Right, right.
Is it?
It's like
Okay.
we're bringing you into this upper echelon of this thing. Like
Uh
you have
huh.
to be known, you gotta be trusted. There's so much that goes into it, right? Yeah, it's just so much. It's just
Okay.
different, right? To get to that major,
Okay.
like they gotta put a serious package for you to be even considered, and you have to be in for so many years. I mean, there's just so many things that goes into it. So, and for
Okay.
me, the people that I was
Hmm.
competing with, bro,
Had been 20 some years.
yeah, the people that I was competing with. So let me step back a little bit. So like
Hmm.
the only other person that's been affiliated with the military was my sister because she did the reserve, right? She
Okay.
was also in JROTC in high school and just kind of through that, right? So other than
Hmm.
that, right, there's nobody else other than now I'm doing it, and which is it came full circle, right? Let me jump ahead with this.
Hmm.
So my nephew now he's at West Point.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know anything about West Point, but that's the Army Academy, right? So that's
I
her
do.
son.
I
Her
actually interviewed someone that studied there.
There you go. So her son is now a student at West Point, So
Okay.
she was the only one, then it was me, now it's her son. So that's the other generation.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yes.
so the people that I was competing with, so I've done Army, we've done Marine. So now this is Air Force, right? I'm going in as an
Hmm.
officer, blah,
Hmm.
blah, blah. And but the people I was competing with, man, yeah, my dad is a colonel. My dad is this. So another reason why I wasn't
I
feeling it
got you.
anymore. I
I
wanted
got
to
you. I
be a
got
pilot.
you.
I wanted to be a pilot so bad, you know.
Oh,
But
really?
I, yeah, I wanted to be a pilot, but never even been in a cockpit of a plane before. So the kids that I'm dealing with, it's like, look, oh yeah, I've been flying since I was 14. So I mean, this is people that yeah, I'm 20, 24, whatever now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you been so you got a 10-year head start on me. So like, yeah, I mean, it was just like all
You
this
felt
things that
intimidated.
not really. It was just I realized like I don't know anything about the field that I want to go into. Like I want to be a pilot, but
Okay.
I
Okay.
never, like I said, other than flying in an airplane, like I said,
Hmm.
I've never sat in the airplane. I've never flown. I don't have any hours. Not that all of that is required. Don't get me wrong.
It's
But
not.
for somebody that's been flying since 14 and blah blah blah, they
Yeah,
know a little bit about parts. So which
they do.
that part will also come up on the exam because the Air Force is different. Like you got to take what they call a Air Force officer qualifying test. So you got to qualify to
Hmm.
be an officer.
Hmm.
So when I didn't
Hmm.
score high enough for that to be a pilot, yeah, maybe another mild depression might have set in, right? I was a
I
little bummed
got
out.
you.
I was like, so what's the point?
Got you.
And then when I actually went to training, I'm like, all this politics stuff, I'm not down with it. So the way God saved me, like
Yes.
because at that point I'm doing good in the program, blah blah blah. He's like, look, you want money? Well, take care of your bills and this. And I'm like, let's just hold off on that. I don't know if this is still where I want to be. And I think that was
Right.
God because assuming I took that money, right? Once I turned out my commission, it's like, well, you got to pay the money back. How do you pay it back? Straight enlistment. Like they'll force you in at that point,
I see.
So, like I said, God has been looking out for me in so many ways, right? So, but long story short, so I turned out my commission, I graduated my computer science degree.
Hmm.
I've been in IT all this time, and I've been living
But over
life
over a decade, was I right about that?
more than that. I mean, I've been doing
There
this
you go.
now since. I've been doing it professionally
Yeah,
since 2006, right?
there you go.
But then of course, if I want to count my fix my laptop, fix this and that, it's a little bit longer. But yeah, I mean, God is.
Dang, that's already 19 years right there. So like almost like more than a decade, technically,
Oh
if
yeah,
you
yeah,
if you
it's more
count the other days.
exactly.
Dang.
So
I
God
had
has
a
been.
question. So what I'll say, let me put it this way. So how did you? I know you grew up in a Christian home though, but how
Yeah,
did you make a decision to have a relationship with Christ on your own? When did that happen, and how has it been over the years that you have made this decision?
one of the best decisions of my life that I've ever made. One of the very best, probably the best, right? It ain't no one of, right? Because I knew
There's
where my
no one
life was.
of.
I
Okay.
knew, like I said, I mean, listen, and then when I talk to kids, I use myself
Mhm.
as an example because
Yes.
you see it. Like there's no secrets to it. You see the people that you're hanging out with, you see what they're like about, you see what's
Hmm.
important to them. And if you continue to hang out there, think you're rubbing off on them, but they're actually rubbing off on you. Whether you want to admit it or not,
Word.
somebody is getting
That's a
influence.
good
It's
one.
either them or you, right? And most of the time, if we're being honest, it's usually us, right? But to answer the
Facts.
question properly, yeah, it pays to come from a Christian family, but to know God for yourself is one thing. To come from a Christian family, to know God for yourself is another thing, right? Like I encourage
Word.
everybody that I know that's going to college. The first thing after asking them where you're going to school, the next question is,
Mhm.
or the next suggestion is, join Crew, Campus Crusade for Christ. They're
Yes.
on
Yes. Yes.
every university. I think even some
Yes.
senior colleges, or even in Nigeria, mind you. Right. So Campus
Yes.
Crusade is worldwide. It's a worldwide ministry. It's a ministry that I believe in. I believe in them so much that I
Mhm.
support people on staff that are on campus or
Oh, I see.
that are doing this on my alma mater, right? That's where
Yeah.
they're doing the same ministry, so I support them, right? So
Yes.
Campus Crusade is a place where you can go. They meet. They have fall conferences and winter conferences, which you just kind of gather with a bunch of believers, y'all praise and worship. You do all kinds of stuff, right? Usually in
Hmm.
remote places like cabins and stuff, right? But then while you're on campus, they meet once a week, usually on Thursdays. I don't know if it's changed, right? And you get
Hmm.
to fellowship with brothers and sisters, in the Lord. So I would say that helped me a lot. But even
Oh,
with all of
okay.
that, though, I made a decision for God early. Well, not too early, right? But I want to say my freshman year at that first university. And
Oh,
that's the thing, like
wow.
even though I made a decision for God, I mean, I still had my crooked ways, right? God was still working on me.
We
But
all did
I'm
have the
telling you,
same problems.
yeah, like, and this is like I said, when you get to university level, everything's
Hmm.
like everything's in your face, like full circle,
Yep.
like
I know
wow.
what you're saying. I know what you're talking about.
So in high school, it's like you heard about gay people. That was all from a
Hmm.
distance. Well, my
Yeah.
roommate was
Now
gay.
you're, yeah.
My roommate was gay, and I'm like, wait, huh? Like I couldn't process it, but um, you know,
Shoot.
probably one of the nicest people I've ever come across. Like,
Right, right, right.
I mean, this dude was making my bed, and I'm like, wait a
No
minute.
way.
Yeah, like I get up, I'm off because I was still in the dorms. Like I only stayed in the dorm that one semester, right? My freshman year, in the fall semester, right?
Oh, Lord.
And I'm like, why is this dude making my bed? And then, you know, I saw he had
Oh,
eyeliner.
Lord.
Huh. So that was my first time actually coming in contact with a person that's gay, right?
Right.
And I say that to say this, right? God don't make mistakes. I don't believe
Not at
God
all.
make mistakes. I think we choose what we want.
Yes.
But
Yes.
even with that, right?
Yes.
God sees it all and he knows all. Like
He does.
it
He
was just
does.
a lifestyle that I don't support, but at the same
Yes.
time, right? I know there's still love. I know God still care about anybody that lives
Absolutely.
that
He still
lifestyle.
loves them.
I
We
don't
don't
hate you.
support it, but
Oh yeah,
definitely God loves
yeah.
them
It's
for
not what
sure.
I support, but at the same time, you as an individual, I don't have a problem with.
Yes.
I might not agree with that
Yes.
lifestyle, but I don't have a problem with you. Yeah. So like I said, man, this guy was the nicest person that I've ever
They
seen
are
in my
usually
life.
very nice though.
And tidy.
Like for
I
real.
man, who's making my bed?
Right.
Then once I realized it was him, you know, but I say
Right.
all that to now get to this.
Yes.
So I was in my dorm. I had my little, back in the day, you had that boom box, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody
Hmm.
got this speaker now, but it was an actual boom box with the radio and all of that. Exactly. So I had that in my dorm room. God was already kind of dealing with me about a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
And I felt like
Do
I've
you,
been
hold on? Do you have a picture of you with a boombox or anything that you can send to me? I could put it on the screen or something. That would be
Got you.
funny.
I mean, believe it or not, I had an afro, I had braids, I had dread.
Oh,
Listen, I've done it all. I had all of that at one point, right? Believe it or not.
my man.
But yeah, I feel like God was been kind of working on me and
Yes.
just kind of tugging on my heart. And I've been
Yeah.
resisting. And I knew. So you
Oh,
know how
wow.
when God is trying to get your attention, but you don't want to be alone. Because you knew
Yeah, you
kind of
don't.
like the game that I played with my mother, right? I just knew that
Right.
I couldn't allow her to catch me.
Because you
That's
knew,
how I
yeah,
felt.
you knew the influence she has over you.
And that's exactly
It's
how
strong.
that's how it was with
Yeah,
me and God.
I know what you
Like
mean.
I did everything to not be alone by myself. Like, oh, hey, come hang out with me. Like, but this fateful day, I was in
Interesting.
my dorm
Yes.
and I was listening to Caleb. So I've been listening. Another thing I'll tell people, man, I've been listening to Caleb for a long time. Like
Oh,
Caleb is a great station,
interesting.
man. Yeah.
Yes, it
So,
is. Yes, it
uh,
is. Shout out to
and
K Love.
shout out to Caleb. That's right. So yeah, and the song I think was that Jackie Velasquez "I Get on My Knees" song that came on the radio,
Oh, okay, okay.
and they just broke me down.
Oh,
Man, I was
wow.
weeping like I'm boohooing for real. Like God, and of
Really?
course, and I'm hoping. I was like, man, please let my roommate come in. Nope, nobody came in.
So
I
he
was all
disrupts
alone.
it. You wanted your roommate to come in, so he disrupts it, and then you're not alone anymore.
Yeah, but no, God being God, man, and I was just like, okay, God, you got my attention. Like I
Yeah, the
literally,
Holy Spirit is like, I got him.
yep. After crying for a little bit, I was like, okay, Lord, you got my attention. I got to do things different. I got to move differently. I got to move with different people, and that was when that personal relationship really started with me as a freshman in
Wow.
college. Like it wasn't all perfect. I still messed up
Right.
in certain areas or whatnot. But I mean, even though the foundation was always there, even going
It
up
was
and
already
God,
laid. Yes. Yes.
but for me to now choose it for me, it was my
Yes.
first year in college.
That's the difference, though.
Oh yeah.
That's the difference. So you guys your parents were not just church goers, though. They were
Oh yeah,
like
they
they
were
were
involved.
impacting you. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. You're right. I mean, they were definitely involved in the church and of course
Okay.
at home, right? So I mean,
Okay.
but the thing
There
is,
you go.
one thing that I realized as a parent too, kids have their own mind.
They do. They do.
You
They do.
man, I see myself. I find myself saying a lot of things that my dad used to say. And one
That's
of
a
them
good.
is, I'm telling you, one of them is, man, if I can just open my head and everything that I know and open your head and drop it in, I'll do it in a heartbeat. Man, you don't know how many times I've said that to my kids
Shoot.
because I'm
That's so
telling
funny.
you,
And you
yeah.
see yourself do the same thing your dad. That's so funny, bro.
Oh man, cause
That's
yeah,
great.
you know,
That's very interesting.
oh yeah. So the way I pray for him now, man, I was like, Lord, I don't know, because I know God's time is the best. Like
Yes.
there's no substitute for that. So I was just pray, hey God, you get them at your time, but please do it early
Yes.
before they leave my house.
Yeah. So he does when he's not too late. It's true. Yes.
Like good foundations, and I'm grateful. I mean, I definitely I'm encouraged. Let's just say by what I see, I'm encouraged. And as God continues to work in their lives. So yeah, it's been a journey.
Okay.
Are you stuck with slow banks and no funding? Waiting weeks for a loan can sink your business. At Monify, we deliver MCF funding fast, up to $25 million in just 24 to 72 hours. A simple application, lightning fast approval, and money in your bank ASAP. Get back to growing and not waiting. Call Monify LLC today and get funded tomorrow. Texas businesses trust Monify. Will you? Don't wait, because funds go fast. So apply now at www.monify.com. monify.com or call 1-800-608-0490. Monify, wealth born of character.
I'm going to now ask you these 5 questions that I have about masculinity, and feel free to elaborate as much as you want, okay? The first one is on redefining masculinity in 2025, right? So traditional masculinity is often criticized or misunderstood today.
Yeah.
So how do you define healthy masculinity in 2025, especially for men that are navigating the modern societal expectations while staying true to their core values? Do you understand the question?
Oh yeah. It's a well
Take
thought
it.
out question. It's a well thought out question, and I don't have all the answers, right?
No. Of course not. Of course not. But you have a lot of wisdom that someone could learn from. I'm telling you.
I don't have all the answers, but here's how I will break it down. So I will
Okay.
first of all give you the definition, and then we can play with it a little
Yes, please.
bit.
Please.
Here's my definition, and even before I give you a definition, I will say there is no redefining masculinity. I think it's been defined,
Word.
and it's just one thing. It's one of those things that's just done once, right? It doesn't need
Yes.
to be. There's no version in it, right? Oh, version 1,
Yes.
version 2. No. Masculinity,
Yes.
it is what it is, right? It is what it
Yes.
is. There is no need to mess with it. There is no need to
Yes.
redefine it. So with that said, here's my simple definition.
Yes.
The role of a man as exemplified by Jesus. That's it.
Yes.
That is my definition for
Right.
it, right? But I mean, we can break
Right.
that down a little bit, right? The
Yes.
role of a man as exemplified by Jesus is my definition of masculinity.
Yes.
Now, Jesus
Beautiful.
had a lot of emotion, right? He showed a lot of emotion. We can go back to the temple where he turned over the tables of those money changers, right? That was anger, right? That was anger. It was passion, right? So you got to have passion, right? Sometimes
Yep.
it's going to anger I show up. Of course, you got to be a protector, right? You got to protect your family. You got to, from our recent teaching, we know that as men, we're not just called to be providers alone. But of course,
Right.
yeah, we're
Pastor
not
Kinsley.
exactly, absolutely. Shout out to him, right? So we're
Shout out
not
to him.
providers, but I mean that's part of what we do, not necessarily
Yes.
who we are, right? I mean,
Right. Okay.
it's a percentage, it's a part of it, not the whole of it, right?
Yes,
So you
sir.
gotta be
Yes,
a
sir.
provider, you gotta protect, right? And quick story, but maybe before I even get to that quick story, right? You gotta be tenderhearted, right? So we feel like, and everything, I know everything is mostly based on culture, right? And not just culture based on your cultural context, where you grew up matters. It defines that a lot. For example,
1000%.
growing up in Nigeria, you know what I'm saying? Like, there is no definition of a personal space. Like, we can be packed in there like sardines. Like, it's no big deal. But in America, I say, hey, bro,
Facts.
give me some
Facts.
space, bro. So,
Facts.
you see what I'm saying? Cultural
Yes.
context. Like,
Yes.
if you're from some parts of Europe, just like the Bible said now, the Bible says to
Yes.
greet each other with a holy kiss. You and I, we've never greeted that way, right? We greet all the time.
Right.
So
Facts.
there you go. And the thing is, most of this stuff is, even masculinity itself, like, it's not really a biblical context like that.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
get what
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
saying.
I
But
get what you're saying.
the Bible does have a lot to say about it, right? So yeah, it's just, it depends on environmental upbringing or where you're coming from. So like I said, like Jesus exemplified it. He's tenderhearted. He was stern when he needed to be stern. He was compassionate when he needed to be compassionate. The story that I wanted to tell is this teeth right here. It's not the best, right? Out in my
Yes.
mouth, right? And my
Yes.
gap is probably bigger than it should be. But here's the story behind that. So growing up, as a kid in that Dallas area or whatever, like we would go play basketball a lot at the rec center. The rec center is just an elementary school that's open where you can shoot
Right.
around and have fun, right? So, we were playing around, and I don't think that God did it maliciously, right? So I was trying to shoot a basket. He pushed me, he fouled me, and I just ran straight to the wall and ran. I
Yes.
kissed the wall, chipped my tooth, right? But my cultural context says, for man, don't tell nobody,
Yes.
just deal with it. That was my masculinity. That's what being a man was.
Oh,
You don't
man.
cry, you don't tell nobody. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but now I'm paying good money to a dentist. You see what I'm saying? Like, so we can
man.
hurt ourselves sometimes by what we think based on definition or based on things that doesn't quite describe us all around. Well, I mean,
Oh,
there's nothing wrong
man,
with a
I
man
see.
crying. There's
Right,
absolutely
right,
nothing
right.
wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with a man crying.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with telling an adult, "Hey, I ran into the wall at the gym. Please take me to the dentist." We probably couldn't afford it, but
Mm-hmm.
that's a different story. But the point I'm making is now I'm
Interesting.
paying more for it today than I would have back then if it was attended to earlier. But I made the decision that I made based on my, cultural context and me saying, well,
Cultural understanding,
I'm a man,
yes.
I'm
Of
masculine,
a man.
like show no emotion, even
Yes.
though my mouth is hurting. So yeah,
Man.
Jesus is that example. Jesus is
Mm-hmm.
that example. He did it all. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
he was stern where he needed to be. He showed compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Say, hey man, this people's been here with me all day, man. Let's give him something to eat, man. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus cried.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay for a man to cry. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I think
Yes.
that masculinity looks like. I might be jumping ahead a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
When there's an absence
Please.
of male dominance or male leadership, guess what you have? You have a Deborah. Deborah stood up. She led the military because,
Word.
hey, I don't know what y'all doing. So is that a
Right.
masculine trait? Yes. Right? That's a masculine
Mm.
trait. Right? When if you're in a relationship where your wife is at work, in our African
Mm-hmm.
context, you put the baby on your back, you back them. That's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily masculine, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't change you as a man. You see what I'm saying? So
No, it does not change
there's
you
a
as a
lot
man.
that
It's
we
true.
do. There's a lot that we do that
Yes.
kind of go back and forth between femininity and masculinity. But at the
Yes.
core of it all, I mean, I
Yes.
think Jesus truly exemplified that for us. And I mean, I guess for people that don't know Jesus, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just do the right thing, right, by your family, and don't be afraid to show emotion. It's okay to cry. It's okay to hug, right? If that's what you do, it's okay to be
Yes.
affectionate, right? Show affection. There's
Yes.
nothing wrong with it at all. It doesn't make you less of a man,
Nothing wrong with it at
right?
all.
If you show
Thank you for
femininity
that.
in certain areas, it doesn't make you less of a man or more of a woman or anything like that. So yeah,
Facts. We have a God that is a God that is love. I mean, come on. Where does affection get its characteristics from, if not love, you
yeah.
know? So I agree with that. So I'll go to the second one. As a business owner, how do
Uh-huh.
you balance assertiveness and emotional intelligence in leadership? And I know you're a leader in your IT career, so you don't even have to answer the question as a business owner. You can answer it as an IT professional, as in leadership, right? How do you
Uh-huh.
balance assertiveness and emotional intelligence?
That's a great man. I mean, honestly, all these questions are great. I mean, they were definitely well thought out, right? So,
Thank
I
you, sir.
mean, how do I balance it? Well, I mean, I think you need to be emotionally tough, right? You need emotional toughness, right?
Yes, yes,
And then you need to be emotionally intelligent, right? So, I mean,
yes,
what that is being able to balance your own emotions and feeling and that of others, right? Being able to
yes,
balance that, manage that in an organizational context, right? Maybe it's a team,
yes.
maybe it's for a whole organization. So being able to
Right, right,
maintain
right.
that and then have everybody be productive, right? So, like I said, that's important because in the context of a team, right? We have a
Mhm.
goal to achieve. We have something that we
Yes,
have an objective. We have something that we're working towards, right? So you
yes.
can't neglect what I'm going through, or I can't neglect what you're going through, right?
Right,
If there's
right,
neglect going on, we're definitely gonna feel it. We're human beings, right?
right,
You know,
right.
why? So we don't all wear our feelings on our sleeves, but we're human beings, so we have feelings. So it's okay to kind of say, "Hey, bro, let's kind of work this thing out. Put this on pause
Right.
for a little bit." Because if we deal with it now, it's not gonna slow us down as much, if that kind of makes sense, right? But if we kind
That
of
makes sense
push,
to me.
it might blow up because I'm dealing with this. I
I
feel like you're not
see.
feeling me or you're ignoring me, and you're my leader. And I'm like, well, man, so if you're not willing to do this for me, why do I need to do that
Hmm.
for you? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, yeah. And then
Right.
if it tends to be bad. So yeah. So I think it's good to have that emotionally to be emotionally tough, right? And then having
Yes.
that emotional intelligence, and then I think
Yes.
yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, I don't know.
So I have a follow-up question to that. So what masculine traits have helped you personally succeed when, especially when you're leading a group of people or a team or in an organizational setting, like you mentioned? What type of traits specifically have you that have helped you be successful when doing these things?
Absolutely. So emotional toughness. I mean, that to me is
Okay.
because when you're managing a group of people, man, there's people from all walks of life. You got
Yes.
Asians,
Different
you
cultures and
got,
backgrounds. Yes.
you got Americans. I mean, you got people from
Yep.
all walks of life, right? And apart from
Facts.
that, intertwined with that is you got people with all kinds of upbringing, all kinds of belief,
Yes.
all kinds of isms, right? Multiple, right?
Yes.
So there's so much to deal with. So if you're not emotionally
Yes.
intelligent or emotionally tough yourself, right? Like I could
Yes.
bring whatever to you and you blow up. All right. And but then as a leader, you can't do that because
I
everybody's
see.
looking up to you, right? Everybody's looking
Can
up to
blow
you.
up.
Everybody is saying,
Yes.
okay, you know what? Let's see what he's gonna do, right? Let's see what he's gonna say. So you gotta be the guy
Yes.
that the glue that kind of keeps everybody together, right? You gotta be the guy that kind of keep everybody balanced.
Interesting.
You gotta be the one that keeps everybody, hey, steady. And like Jesus said, man, hey, I'm trying to sleep,
I
man.
see.
Peace be still. Like you,
Yes.
you gotta be the reason. While there's no reason, you gotta be the reason. Sometimes, like, okay, all right, guys, let's do it this way. Okay, you do this, you do that, you do that, and then be intelligent, right? And that just because you're
Yes.
telling other people to do it, it doesn't make you better, right? But at the same time, you know there is
Mm-hmm.
something
Mm-hmm.
that needs to get done, right? So that is, I would say that emotional toughness / emotional intelligence has helped, in that aspect. I will also say it's okay to be competitive.
Interesting.
So I would say competitiveness is another
Okay.
trait that I think I use on a regular basis, right? I mean, I think the word
Okay. Okay.
competitiveness does have a negative connotation to it. Right? When you hear competitive,
Mm-hmm.
people might think, I mean, it could get ugly, right? But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there's nothing wrong with competing, right? There's nothing wrong with honest competition,
Nothing
right?
wrong at all. Yes.
So if you and I are going for a role, you're gonna put your best foot forward.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put my best foot forward. We're being competitive, even though it's on
Facts.
paper, right? It's a resume. I'm looking at your
Mm-hmm.
resume. I'm looking at the other person's resume. They're competing. So, like I say, I don't want us to associate this
They are competing.
the negative connotation to it, right? Because I know some people do go,
Yes. Yes.
do a little too much sometimes and cause bodily or physical harm
Yes.
due to whatever, right? But yeah, there's nothing wrong with having a little competitive edge.
Yes.
I mean, I think if you're not competing, you're not
Mm-hmm.
trying to win. I mean, if you don't have that competitive juice
Right.
energy within you to go get it,
Right.
maybe you're in the wrong place to begin with. I mean, I don't know if I will hire somebody like that, right? If I'm
Right.
in a position to hire, right? Sometimes both candidates are about even, and you're just looking for something to separate them. And from
Yes.
the interview, you can see the energy. You
Right.
can see energetic, or you can see somebody that just said, "Man,
Oh
look, man,
wow.
I'm just, like so." Yeah. So when you do an interview, you gotta put your best foot forward because you don't know who's reading what body language. Maybe you roll your eyes one time, like
Right.
they don't seem interested. They roll their eyes. So yeah, you
Interesting.
got to be
Okay.
competitive, and there's so many
Right.
ways to competitive, right? I mean, so I'll leave it at that. But yeah, that's another way that you can look at that.
So you have to become, you have to emotionally tough, emotionally intelligent, and you have to be competitive, but of course not in the negative way, in a way
Uh,
that progresses the goal, I guess.
yeah, do it
It's
do
the
it the
best way
right way,
you put
right?
it.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
There's a right
Okay.
way, there's a wrong way. Always, and then I say there's a right way, there's a wrong way. When we know better, we got to do
Yes.
better. So that's where I'll put it.
Thank you so much for that. So the next one would be the tech industry is fast paced and often competitive. How can men in the IT space maintain their confidence and resilience without falling into the toxic behaviors like being ego driven and have a burnout? You know what I mean? A lot of people have a burnout because they overly, I guess, put all of themselves into it,
Competitive.
and they don't have a way to regenerate or whatever the energy. So how does someone, a man
Yeah.
specifically, because we're going to talk about masculinity in the IT space, maintain their confidence and resilience? Take it.
Absolutely. I mean, right off the bat, balance, right?
Balance.
You have to have balance.
Okay.
Right? You can't just be all go,
Okay.
go, 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 go. I mean, even machines need an oil
Okay.
change, right? If you don't change the oil in your car, what's gonna happen? It's gonna burn out. You're gonna burn up the engine.
Facts.
So
Burn out.
you
Yep.
gotta refresh, right? So yeah, not to say that you
Yes.
just refresh all day, right? Balance. Like you can't do one
Yes.
more than the other, right? If you relax a little
Yes.
bit, then make sure you do a lot of work, right? It's gotta balance out. So apart from being
I
general
got
like that,
you.
right? With balance, I would say focus, right? If you're not focused, you'll
Mhm.
let distractions in, right? And
Uh-huh.
distraction is nothing but a liability that you can't afford when it comes up. Let
Mm.
me say that
Too
again.
expensive.
Distractions, there are nothing but liabilities that you can't afford when they show up. So that's why you got to be
Right.
locked in. So when you're focused, so I'm focused, I'm doing my thing, and you hit me up and say, hey, great, I'm
Yes.
sorry, bro. I can't make the outing. Like I got this other things to do. I love you,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But
Yes.
I'm locked. Like this thing is important, right? Like I know
Right.
the importance of it, right? Because I'm focused, I'm locked in. Not because I want to be antisocial or whatever, but because I know
Yes.
I'm working towards something and I'm
Yes.
locked in step with that thing, right? Because somebody else
Yes.
is
Yes.
depending on me to do my part, and I got to do my part in order for
Mm.
this thing needs to come together, right? You doing your part,
Mhm.
I'm doing my part, but somebody else went to go hang out and then do their part. So now everything that you've been putting all your time into, my hard time, now will kind of stand still. So, and that shows lack of focus, lack of respect. I mean, we
Okay.
can go into all of it, but if you're focused,
And it also sounds like integrity too.
absolutely, it speaks to who you are as a man as well, right?
Yes.
So, and that's why if you're focused, you know when you're focused and you know when you're distracted. So, long story short, you just gotta keep the
Mhm.
distraction out, keep the noise out. I mean, distraction can come from your own family now. I mean, don't it's not always bad
Abs-
thing. And so
Absolutely.
let's not
Yes,
add
sir.
another negative connotation to that. Like when I say focus, I mean
Yes.
it
Yes.
could be
Sir.
legitimate stuff, but then
Yes.
balance will also take precedence. Like if you working and say okay, there's something somebody had an emergency, obviously you got to put that down or attend to the emergency. Other than that, things that can wait, you prioritize, right? Which would be the other thing,
Yes.
right? If you prioritize everything, you can put things in perspective, right? I would say another thing, like I think I had a lot to say here. What is your why?
Please.
What is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing?
What is your why?
Which also
Okay.
kind of leads back to focus. Because if
Yes.
your why is right there in front of you every day, I'm doing this for this reason. I'm doing this for this reason. I'm doing this for this reason. If it's always in your face, you can't lose focus, right?
Yes.
You can't
Yes,
lose
sir.
focus. It's always in your face. Another thing that I will add, you got to write it down, right?
You got to write it down.
Got to write it down. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision, make it plain, so that he that sees it may run with it. You know what I'm saying? So how can you run with
Yes.
something that's not in your face, that you're not looking at, that you're not
Right.
focused, that you're not zero in on?
Right.
So everything that I'm saying kind of ties in together, right? It kind
It
of ties in
does.
together.
It does.
And then if you know your why and your focus, accountability. Like I gotta come to you
Okay.
and say, hey, bro, I'm behind. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like
Right.
I'm behind on this project. I should have been at this level. I'm here. What's
Yes.
up, man? Like I think I might be in a funk too. Like what I need help. So maybe
Yes.
that help that I need, you be like, hey, bro, I got you. I'm gonna come babysit for 2 hours so I can take my butt to the library to go focus. You see how everything is going back to the same thing. It's like a broken,
Focus.
like it's a cycle. Like
Yes.
so, your accountability, you should be able to tell them whatever difficulty that you have. And which another thing, right? For being masculine, we don't want to share. There's nothing wrong with sharing. I have a problem with oversharing, but that's a different story. So the thing is like, I'll come to my brother and be like, hey, bro, listen, come on, man. Like I need help in this area.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's good to be accountable to somebody, And on top of that, like, who can discipline you, right? Because if you're this type of man that's just out of here that, I answer to me, I don't answer to anybody else, bro.
Yes.
Nobody survives that way, right? So that's that. Part of the accountability comes with that community, right? It comes with that, say somebody, if my wife go report me to somebody, I know. So if anything that happens now, my wife knows who she
Right.
is. can call pastor, call first lady or whatever.
Right. People
Hey,
that you answer
y'all need to
to,
talk
you
to him.
submit to. I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
So there's got to be
Most
that,
men don't have that.
but you got to. It's
We got
important
to.
because you're not a man. Okay, there I do whatever I want when I know. That's not. Nobody lives lives that's successful that way. So you can live
Word.
life that way, but you're not gonna be successful.
You're not gonna be successful.
I'll leave it at that.
That's beautiful, though. Oh man, well, in the future I'll bring you back. You need to talk more about that accountability thing because well, if we talk about it now, it will take longer because it's very deep. I have so many questions about it. But let me
Okay.
finish this one.
Okay.
But very good, very good. So now with social media and remote work shaping interactions, how can men protect their mental toughness and self-respect while avoiding being isolated or digital validation seeking? How do you answer that?
Simple.
Okay.
Close your eyes. Nah, I'm joking.
Hmm.
Nah, so he's like, what?
Hey, if that's what it takes, man,
Hey, it takes a
we'll
little bit
do
more than
whatever
that.
it takes, man. You know what I mean? Even if it's
Absolutely.
closing your eyes. Come
Yeah, I
on.
mean, you do have to close your eyes, but
Okay.
we'll expand that later. But you got
Okay.
to
Okay.
choose your space. What I mean by choose your space, what energizes you? What gets that creative juice going? What
Right.
puts you in the mood? Like, boy, I can't wait. Let's do this. You got to
Right.
know what that is for. So that's how you choose your space. So if I'm hanging out with Joe over here and he's
Mm-hmm.
killing that energy,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta
Cut him off.
find that
Yeah.
space. Exactly. Time out, bro. We got a substitution. Put me in the game, coach. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you you gotta find that. Choose your space. And that's the thing. Like,
Choose
I
your
think some
space.
choose your space, bro. Like, I
Okay.
think sometimes we think we're locked into other people's spaces. You know you're not. Choose your own space.
Yes.
Choose your own path. Blaze your own trails. And listen,
Yes.
just because I said blaze your own trail, I'm not saying reinvent the wheels. No, 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 no. Don't get me wrong. We can
Okay.
unpack that too. No, you don't need
Okay.
to reinvent the wheel. You just need to choose your own space. Just
Yes.
because XYZ is doing XYZ don't mean I gotta do XYZ, right?
Right.
If
Right.
XYZ good for them, I see it, I celebrate them, which kind of speaks to
Mm-hmm.
that, cloud chasing or whatever. Would you say media validation or whatever? So,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Yeah. Digital validation seeking.
yeah, I'm happy for you. Now, can I take some aspect of that? Absolutely. But
Okay.
I'm not gonna break my neck trying to do it the same way you did it, right? I can learn a
Okay.
lot from you. But matter of fact,
Yes.
I even put my ego aside. I say, hey, bro, great. Man, hey, great this, great that. Remember we
Yes,
spoke,
sir.
I said, look, when I'm ready, I'm gonna hit you up for this podcast stuff. Like, hey, I'm gonna get my channel
Yes.
started. That's
Yes,
that's what it's
sir.
all about. That's
Yes.
exactly what it's all about right there. So I chose my space. I'm like, okay, I can go find somebody random on YouTube, but I'm like, you know
Yes.
what? I can relate with you. So I'm choosing my
Yes.
space. So that's how you choose your space. Like, where is that creative energy the most? Where is it heightened? Where is
Yes,
it
sir.
diminished? Where is it mid? You definitely don't
Yes.
want to be where it's diminished. You want to be where it's heightened, at least mid, right? So where it's
Yes.
mid, at least they're not taking you back to zero, right? But when it's heightened, that's
Facts.
your best. That's you're in that space. Everything just kind of flow. You're excited. So people that kind of kills that vibe or kill that energy, you
Mm-hmm.
probably don't want to be around
Mm-hmm.
them. So you want to choose your space. Don't live in other people's spaces. I think that's one way I would look at it. I mean, I think exercise, man. I think we don't place not to place too much premium on exercise and our health.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
health is wealth, bro. Like if you're not,
One thousand
I know
percent.
I know for me, and I'm speaking from experience, when I
Mm-hmm.
go too long without any kind of anything that gets my heart rate up, I have a
Mm-hmm.
hard time sleeping. I have a hard time
So it
focusing.
affects your mental.
Oh yeah, you get cloudy up here, bro. At
Really?
least I
So when
oh
when
yeah.
you're not taking care of the physical, it affects your Oh
Oh yeah,
wow. Go ahead.
because
Sorry.
everything's tied together. Everything's tied together. So
Right.
I
Right. Right. Right.
I,
Right.
I get foggy, I get cloudy, lethargic, you're tired all the time. You're just kind of dragging. But once you pump up a little
Interesting.
bit, you're like, man, come on,
Yeah.
man, let's
Yeah.
go. Like, you're upbeat and you're kind of going through. So, treat your space, exercise. Like I
Okay.
said, I will also say mentors
Mm-hmm.
come in, right? accountability mentors, whatever you want to call it, right? Yeah, speak to somebody. Hey, bro, like I'm struggling. Like I think I don't know if it's just I don't want to globalize. Well, maybe in the black race, I don't know. We have an issue. I definitely not Nigerian, man. Like we have an issue saying, bro, I am struggling. Like we don't want to say those things. Just because you say I'm struggling don't mean you'll stay there, right? But I do get it. I think so. It's a couple of things at play. I think some people has been kind of hurt because they kind of poured our hearts out and somebody kind of let their trust down, right? So
That's a good
and
point.
I know it's hard, right? But the thing is, we have to be secure, not insecure, right?
Yes.
Like let anybody say what they want. And I know it sounds easier than than done, right? But at some point you're gonna have to resolve to, you know what? Yeah, so what? You gotta come with a so what attitude. So what they know that I struggle with this. So what they know I struggle with that. But I don't want to stay there. I want to get better. I'm trying to get out of this funk.
Yes.
So we can get into how you choose the right mentor, all of that.
Yes.
But at some point, you gotta have somebody you can go to. Like I said, we're not on an island, and even if we are on an island, we're on this island together. So we gotta take advantage of who's around us, who's on this island with us. I guarantee you, if it's only 5 people on the island, there's one guy. There's at least one guy that's trustworthy. So you gotta figure out who that one person is and go to that one person, and then let that person kind of guide you. And of course, too, this is somebody that you've kind of watched from afar, somebody that's trustworthy, somebody that's this, that. So I mean, you gotta have your own kind of checks that. Okay, yeah, they checked that box, they checked up. Okay, no, now I can approach them, right? And be forthcoming. Like, there's no need to kind of be pretentious or hold anything back. I mean, lay it out there. But hey, bro, I'm struggling here.
I was gonna say, like, okay, so how do you discern the right mentor or accountability partner? But then I remember that in church we did a Bible study, and Pastor was explaining the difference between discernment and intuition, and they are the same thing, except that one investigates. So one takes it further. They don't just take it at first value what someone is or who someone is. So it's good to do the investigative part. If you're trying to find a mentor, right? It's good to test them.
Absolutely.
You don't have to put any test for them, but just observe them, verify what they're about, and see if it aligns with your value. But you have to make an effort as a man. You have to make it. You can't just sit down and expect everything to happen for you, right?
Speaking of tests, you got to test people in every arena. Like every facet of your life, you got to test people. Quick story.
Yes, please.
So in college, I was torn between 2 ladies that I wanted to date, and they were pretty good. They were both good people. Because first of all, I look at the heart. I'm like, okay, we seem compatible, blah blah blah. But how do I differentiate? Right?
They were both good. Yeah.
It was
How do you differentiate?
simple test. Like, and here's the thing: one didn't have a car, one had a car. There you go, right? So, but the problem with the one that doesn't have a car, I mean, I was one that took her everywhere.
Too dependent on you.
You feel this?
Yeah.
So we were at Walmart. I was like, Lord, I gotta. Man, I'm grateful to God. I mean, that's just what it is. Like, God has helped me in a situation that I feel like I couldn't get out of.
Right.
It's for His wisdom and leading.
I told you. You got some wisdom, bro.
So we were at Walmart. The one that didn't have the car, one of the candidates. Yeah. And I'm like, I never asked her for gas money, right? And I'm like, I picked the cheapest. I think it was like those 5-piece pack of gum, 25 cents or whatever it is back then.
Right.
I said, buy me this. She's like, no. Okay.
The easiest test to pass, and she failed it.
Instantly, like she didn't even went flinch. She's like, no. I was like, I was just playing. I was playing, but I wasn't playing. I was like, I'm just playing. Don't worry about it, And yeah, that was that. You know who I picked?
Absolutely.
The other one had a car. I didn't have to take her anywhere. And then I wasn't even there. And guess what? I told this one to buy me something more. I was like, buy me a bag of chips and I want some, I think noodles, as a color student. I was like, buy me noodles, buy me some juice. And when she came, I was like, wait, hold on.
But more?
What are you doing? Like, first of all, I was joking. I was like, what am I gonna? Well, I had to return some of that stuff that she bought
Like she aced it.
beyond my own expectation. So it wasn't just a physical attraction for me. I mean,
Yes,
I
yes,
would
yes.
say this other one might have looked a little better, but I'm like, it didn't matter because to me, it was more at the heart, right? I was like, listen, if we vibing here,
Hey, the heart is
that's most
hey
important.
man, you see what they say, what you're saying, it kind of proves what they say about poor people and rich people. I hate to bring this up, but it's what I've read, and they say it's more difficult to make a poor person feel fulfilled than it is to make a rich person feel fulfilled. In fact, the rich person, they said, they don't ask for fulfillment. So now in this scenario you just created, which is a real life scenario, one is entitled, but they still are in lack and they're feeling entitled. Pick
Yeah.
your poison. You better be, in our culture we say, I don't know if they say it in Yoruba, right? But in the Igbo culture they say you can't be Mbogbenye. I'll speak it and I'll translate. Imam Mbogbenye Bulamos. It means you can't be a witch and be poor. You have to pick one. It's either a witch or you're poor. You can't be poor and be a witch at the same time. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow,
That
that was
was.
good.
I thought it was interesting. My son, I was like, wait, bro, I've been taking you everywhere. Like,
Right.
come,
Can you
come up,
imagine the level of entitlement?
no problem.
Interesting.
Yeah, that no problem. So yeah, it was an easy choice for me after that. Like, I was
Yes,
good,
sir.
So yeah. I
Okay,
don't know.
okay.
Was
Thank
there
you for
anything
sharing
else,
that.
or did we answer
So
all
the
that?
last question I got. Sorry, you were saying something?
No, I was asking if that was the last question, or did we cover all of them?
Oh, okay. Sorry. The last question now, man. Don't worry, you're almost done. So this one says masculinity is often tied to legacy, building something lasting, right? So for
Mm-hmm.
men in business and tech, how do you ensure your work ethic and personal growth aligns with leaving a meaningful impact? How do you ensure that as a man as in business or in tech?
Yeah, I don't want to sound too repetitive, but I think
No,
as
please.
well,
It's okay.
what is the why? Like I said, I think
What is
once
your
you have your
why?
why, like if you know why you're doing what you're doing, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to be sidetracked. It's hard to be distracted. And even
Mm-hmm.
when those distractions do come, you know how to navigate, right? So if you know your why, am I doing this to be like the Joneses? Or
Mm.
am I doing this because there's a genuine desire or love or
Yeah.
passion
You
or
want to make an
self?
impact? Yes.
Yeah. So why are you doing what you're doing? Like, do
Yes.
I want a business to just say, yeah, I have a business? Or do I have a business because I see a need in my community? So
Ooh.
speaking of business, we ran a business here in San Antonio. My wife, we saw a need. The African market space is different now from what it was when we
Mm-hmm.
started this thing. I mean, I think
Mm-hmm.
there was two, and we were the third one, right? As far as African market in San Antonio at the time.
Oh, for real. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So TJ African Mart. So
Mm-hmm.
we that was ours before we sold it, right? To
No
that gentleman.
way.
Yeah. So that was, I mean,
Sure.
so that
Why
TJ is
did you
my wife.
sell it?
Yeah, we sold it. I mean, we see the thing is you have to know when to get, kind of like stocks. You get
Okay,
into
okay, okay, okay. I
stocks,
got
you
you.
got to know when to get out, right? You
I
got to know
got
when
you.
to get out. So I mean, you got people selling out their garage, you got people selling their vans, you got people selling,
Yes.
so they can undercut your price because they have no overhead. So as a savvy
Yes.
business person, you got to understand that. Look, bro, how sustainable is this, bro? Like I can't compete with it. I ain't got the kind of funds that they got. So I mean, once
Okay,
again,
I
having
got you.
mentors, having people that can speak truth into your ear and be like, hey, bro, let's be honest. You ain't got the kind of
Yes.
money he got, so how you gonna compete with him? He can buy
Yes.
this
That makes
things
sense.
more. You can only buy so
Yes.
much.
Yes.
He's got bigger space. He's got this. So when you kind of put all that together, you're like, okay, you know what? We ran this
Yes.
race. We did it for what it was, and thank God we had somebody that wanted to take it over. He was a customer too,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So when he took that over, we were cool, So like we knew when to get out. Long story short,
Right.
right?
Makes
So yeah,
sense.
that's where mentorship, that's where accountability, that's why That's when you open up to people, because I understand you can't open up to certain people, not everybody. That's when you kind of
Yeah,
get
you
certain
can't.
vibes. See, hey,
Facts.
look, man, yeah, it's probably. So yeah, we had an exit plan. There was a need. We met that need,
Okay.
and that need was gonna
Hmm.
be continually met by selling it to somebody, not just closing it down. You
Yes.
see what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
because of that,
Yes.
we were okay. We were okay to say, you know what? Yeah, we ran our race. We we fought the good fight. We'll let somebody else take over. And sometimes you got to be
So
okay
no,
with that, bro.
no, it's true. No. I agree with you. You know, you come from a background, so in boxing, right? How I don't know. Are you familiar with boxing?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So are you familiar with the fight that just happened like 2 weeks ago with between Chris Eubank Jr. and Connor Ben?
Nah. So I'm an old school boxing lover.
Okay.
What's going on nowadays ain't really my cup of tea. But I'll
Got
watch
you,
it when
got
it
you.
comes.
No problem, no problem. But at least you know the concept of boxing and the industry itself.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
yeah, you know how some people will box and they win. They used to win, and then there's a down spiral where they start losing, and then the quality of fighters they're losing to it becomes questionable, right? At that point, someone that is smart needs to make a change. Is it time to let it go? Or do we change our trainer system or whatever? But knowing when to quit, it's not really a bad thing. It's actually a wisdom thing
awesome
because
thing.
if you don't have, like you said, the why, if you've exhausted your why are you still here? Why are you still in the race, bro?
There you go. There you go. The need
So
was being met.
knowing that why too definitely
Telling you
helps.
that why will get you out of a lot of trouble in this world.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the
So
question would be, does every why have an expiry date or expiration date,
it
or
depends.
do some whys linger? Huh?
It depends on what we're talking about. I
Okay,
get some wires can be recycled, right? Some wires can be renewed.
that's a good one. Okay.
Yeah. And then it depends on so many factors. So, for example, as
Uh huh.
somebody in college, your why is like, I just want to get through college. Like, I want to get a good job, right? That's your why. You want to
Right.
graduate. But once you
Okay.
graduate, it's like, okay, I want this job. Once you get the job, you're single. Your why is different, right? Now you're just working for you, no big deal. But now when you have kids, you see, your why is expanding and changing just drastically. So now you got kids, it's
Oh, I
like, look,
see.
all right,
That's a very good one.
this ain't about me no more, bro. This is about them now. Now you worry about
Right.
legacy. Now you worry about this. You worry about that. Yeah, whys have a way of morphing into, or maybe have a way of progressing as we progress as to individuals in life. Like, and depending on our situation and circumstances, your whys can it can intensify too at times. Based on what you
Right.
got going on. So I mean, if
Right.
you're fighting for life and death, nothing else
Hmm.
matters, right? So,
Nothing else
and that's a look,
matters.
we gotta live, we gotta live, right? And then once you're
Yeah.
living, I mean, it's only people that are living that can say, no, I want a luxury car. If you dead,
Yeah.
like, come on. So yeah, the why does kind
It
of
doesn't
have a
matter.
way of kind of and change it. So yeah, so I mean that's one aspect of it. And I
Okay.
think kind of repeat what we said earlier about this same question. Like, write it down. Like I said, what you
Write
write
it down.
down, you see often. I mean, I
Yes.
remember when I was in college, I had
Yes.
posters on my ceiling. So as I'm laying down, I'm looking before I sleep, before I close my eyes every night. I was looking at, I
What
was
kind of
looking at it like,
posters?
man, you know, uh, I believe one of my favorite ones was says, from penury to conspicuous prosperity.
Oh wow.
So I was just like, yeah, how do I go from where I am to where I want to be? You know,
Right.
so I had some stuff written underneath each, and I was like, okay, yeah. And I think I saw that somewhere. I was like, yeah, I gotta take that. I gotta, from penury to conspicuous prosperity, and then I
Ooh.
just kept claiming that, and I kept running with that, So yeah, write it down. And then which kind of goes back to the scripture that I gave earlier, Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision, make it plain,
Yes.
right? I mean, how
Yes, sir.
how are the people gonna see it? How would they know?
Yes.
Because the thing is, we pray, not plan, that we can plan it. It's good to actually plan it, but it's also pray. I mean, also great to pray as well. You can plan for
Yes.
long life, pray for it. So
Right.
if you're not no longer in the picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Retirement, death, or what have you,
Mm-hmm.
like how do you know that people won't misbehave if there's nothing written down? If there's no
Right.
manifesto, if there's no
Right.
guiding principle, what do you
Yes.
expect them to do? They're gonna do what they feel
Right.
like doing. But if they're saying,
Yes.
you got something set in stone, and I always break life
Yes,
down
sir.
like this. You have tiny, small pebbles. You pick them up, you throw them
Mm-hmm.
around. You have,
Mm-hmm.
martyr sized, rocks. They're heavy. You can still move them
Mm-hmm.
around. And then you got boulders and you got
Mm-hmm.
mountains. They're not going anywhere. So you got to choose and pick which is which. Because the little
Right.
pebbles, man, you toss them around, no effort. The one that's about 10 to 20 pounds, you gotta kind of, get real with it and still pick it up, but you can still move those. But the boulders and mountains,
Right.
good luck. They're not going anywhere. So
They're
you
not
gotta
going
decide
anywhere.
which is which. Ain't going no, it's not even gonna budge. You gonna die before God forbid. So that's why, like, if it's not written down,
Yes.
abuse is inevitable. Because if you don't know the purpose, if you don't know why this thing is here to begin with,
It's inevitable.
somebody
It's
else
not
can come
written down. I
after
like
you.
that.
I'm telling you, somebody else gonna come after you and just
I
do
like
whatever
that.
they feel like it. They just gonna do that on a
Right.
whim. Like imagine somebody's been building a legacy
Right.
for a lifetime, and
Right.
you just hand it over to somebody and you don't have anything written down. I mean, don't get me wrong. Just having it written down it's not enough alone. You got to choose the right person. The right successor
Right.
also matter, but I mean, you doing yourself a disservice if there's nothing to look at. When I started my business,
Right.
you needed to have something written down, my LLC. So, I mean, always important to write stuff down. And once it's written down, you
Okay.
can come back to it. Because, like I said, life happens. Maybe you get sidetracked. Maybe you do let distraction in one
Right.
time and it takes you, instead for you to take 410, you took 1604.
Right.
You'll still
Yep.
get to the same area because they're both loops. One is going to be longer, one is
Facts.
going to be shorter. 410 is inside,
Facts.
1604 is outside. You'll get there
Right.
much longer. So that's what
You must
distraction
take it.
is,
You might
right?
take it longer.
So
Yes.
yeah, you might
Yes.
take that detour, but if you have it written down, be like, why'd I
Right.
do that? I took the wrong exit. Okay. You course
Right.
correct. And then you get to the right destination. So that's
Oof.
that's the way I look at it.
My man. We've come to the end of the show, but I want you to say things that I usually will ask my guest is you have to go back in time and two things we want you to tell yourself, your younger self. One is something that you don't want them to do, and
Uh-huh.
two is something that you want them to do. What would those things be? And that's the last thing before you give us a word of wisdom, and then we wrap it up.
That's cool. So what I don't want my young self to do. Yeah,
Yes,
you know what? I probably would have say I would have, hindsight 2020. If I knew, I
I know.
probably, yeah, I mean, choose your friends wisely. It's
Oh,
tough,
okay,
the people that you hang
okay,
out with. I've learned so much from just observing people, right? I've learned so much from just seeing life happen because life happens to everybody, right?
yes,
So yeah, choose friends wisely and spend your time a little bit better. Because I think I did wasted some years. And like I said, I
oh,
don't have
okay,
no shame in my game. Like my brother,
yeah, yeah.
he finished his undergrad before I did, and I'm older. So
I see. Because you were
I
busy
took
doing other things
I took the 6 year
that you
plan
should
for
have
my
been doing.
undergrad. He got out
I
in four
see.
years. So
Right,
he was done in four, I took six, And then of
right.
course the fact that I had to start my coursework all over at the new school,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
help.
yeah. For sure, for
But I
sure.
did that to me. I did that to me. So yeah, don't waste time. That's what I would tell
Don't waste
my old
time.
self then. Like, listen. And then speaking of time,
Okay.
it's the same thing. Like I will also say, so that's why I said don't waste time. But I will also let
Mm-hmm.
myself know that time is so valuable, bro. Like having a conversation with my children the other day. Matter of fact, I think
Mm-hmm.
it was yesterday as we was heading to that graduation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Time waits for no one. Time waits for no one. We're all entitled to 24 hours. Like, what are you gonna do with your
Yep.
24 hours? Like some people sleep it, some
Word.
people watch shows. Like I said, balance. There's nothing wrong with sleeping if you need it. There's nothing wrong with a little entertainment because you need it, right? But balance. You don't overdo it. That's so yeah. Time is important. Like matter of fact, time is a treasure. Cherish that thing, bro.
Very
Like
much. The most on this planet Earth,
because
the
once it's
most
gone,
valuable treasure there is.
once it's gone,
That's why we
and
say you don't manage time, you manage activities.
yep, you
Time
can.
is set.
Nope. Can't manage it, can't adjust it, can't slow it down, can't
Nope.
pause it, can't
Yep.
fast forward.
Facts.
Man, I wish I can go back. I ain't gonna lie. Like, what? I can go back 20 years? Man, I do things a
And you
lot.
do certain things differently.
Man, there's a
Okay.
couple of things I do differently. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
for
I
one, I
got
probably
you.
would have stayed in the military, stay with the Air Force. And that's one thing that I look at,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a few things I probably would have did differently.
I see. I see. Okay. Now give us a word of wisdom. It doesn't have to be business related or IT related or relationship related, but whatever Holy Spirit puts in your heart. Give us a word of wisdom for our listeners today, and then that's it.
Man, I'll tell you like this.
Yes.
My people, I have one thing to say and one thing only. Open your mouth. Open your mouth. Open your mouth.
A
I
closed
said
mouth
that.
is a closed destiny.
I'm telling you, open your mouth. We can break that and
Interesting.
break it down in so many ways. Like
In
I
so
said,
many ways. Yes.
open your
Yes.
mouth. Even if you don't consider yourself the greatest speaker, please open
Yes.
your mouth. Do not be
Huh.
silent. Do not
Interesting.
be silent. Do not. Because when you just sit there and you're silent, you're in agreement, whether you want to accept that or not.
Yo, there's a saying in my culture, Oba means the person who keeps quiet is in agreement.
Absolutely. There's if you don't
That's a good
open
one.
your mouth, you're in agreement. So open your mouth.
Yeah.
Open your mouth. I mean,
Interesting.
be
You should make a
respectful.
t-shirt that says that, bro.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
respectful now. Read the room. I mean, if it's
Yes.
a follow up to that. Because opening
Yes.
your mouth is so important, but you got to read the room. Like, scan the room real quick.
Right.
Boom, okay, hey, that's what's going on. All right,
Right.
let me compose myself like this. Or you can come
Right.
and be like, okay, you know what? I can chill a little bit. But you got to read the room.
Right.
Once you read the room, open your mouth. Because
Okay.
if you don't open your mouth, then of course we're dealing with something totally different, entirely. But yeah, and that's why I said be respectful, because as you kind of read the room,
Mhm.
you'll kind of know how to kind of insert yourself and
Mhm.
then kind of get your point across. So yeah,
Okay.
that's it, bro.
Woo!
Yeah.
My man, AK. It's fun talking to you, my brother. I promise. You have something very special. You do. People gravitate towards you for a reason. Very lovable. I'll tell you what I've observed about you. Very composed, very calculated. I can tell. Very strategic. The way you talk, the way you walk. I love it. I love it. And I can also tell you have a very good heart. And I'm not saying that to flatter you. If you know me personally, you know I don't flatter people. I'll be honest, I don't like everybody, bro. I love everybody because it's a commandment that God has given us. But I don't
Right.
like everybody, though. You know what I
Right.
mean? So there's certain people that I like, and I like you, man. You're a pretty cool cat, and
Man,
I'm so grateful for you coming on the pod. So, but yeah, we're gonna invite you next in the next few seasons we have. But thank you so much, sir, for sharing your words of wisdom, and I pray God continues to elevate you and bless you
man.
more and more and more. You and your family. But yeah, we'll see you on the next video, guys. Yeah, you heard everything. If you have any questions, comment below. Feel free to like, share, comment, follow us, subscribe, whatever. But my name is Great Akudo. This is AK, and welcome to the Akudo Experience. I'll see you guys in
That's
the
right.
next video, all right?
Lean on your